So you're looking to get started with cold email to set meetings for your social media marketing agency. Let's dive right in and talk about best practices for getting started with cold email. So guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are all doing well and staying safe. Forgive me for my little bit of a rough look right now. I actually missed my appointment because I was too busy taking sales calls. Don't know about you, but I'd rather take a sales call over getting a trim. Some may disagree with me, but you know what? Whatever. I'm looking messy. Just get over it. It's COVID. Whatever. Hope you guys are staying safe, by the way. Anyway guys, what I want to do is give you a little bit of update as to what happened last time. So in my last video, I actually mentioned something about I had like a 2K deal in the pipeline. Turns out I actually closed that client for $2,000 per month for social media management. It's an e-commerce company. So this is actually a really big client. They're an e-commerce client and they actually sell apps on the Shopify app store type thing. If you know what I'm talking about, when you're a Shopify merchant and you have your own Shopify store, there are apps that you can install on your store. They actually provide apps to merchants and they're making around 130K right now per month. Really awesome client. Don't want to talk too much about them, of course, because I don't want to reveal them, and you know, we've got certain things in place and whatnot. So I'm going to keep their identity protected and whatnot. But anyway guys, I'll actually throw that on the screen for you somewhere now. But as you can see, it's a 2K deal. What we're doing is just managing their social media for them. Really awesome client as well, by the way. Absolutely love them. So guys, with that being said, let's jump straight into getting started with cold email. So I posted this on my actual Instagram last night and I seen that a lot of people, you know, liked it and I was giving a lot of good feedback and whatnot. And not only that, but I actually posted that originally because people were asking me all about cold emails. So without any further ado, let's talk about getting started with cold email. So you guys have all heard that, you know, especially for the e-commerce niche, the cold email works really well. It's been working really well for me as well. Takes a little time to master, which is why I still use Upwork and whatnot to bring in cash flow first from other clients and whatnot. Like the client I just closed, that was from Upwork, by the way. That cash flow then gets used to, you know, reinvest into the business for email software and just learning email stuff and courses and that sort of stuff. I kind of see Upwork as like my way to generate cash flow so that I can, you know, invest in other parts of my business and whatnot for the e-commerce stuff and whatnot. But anyway guys, let's jump straight into cold email. So I get a lot of people asking me about cold email, and here are some of the mistakes and kind of tips that I want to give to you that are gonna kind of just put you way ahead of most people. So number one is you want to register a brand new domain, and I highly recommend you actually go to Google for this. So don't go to like GoDaddy and stuff like that. I know you can get special deals and all that sort of stuff, but guys, I actually don't recommend you go to like third-party domain purchases where you can go and buy domains like 123 domain or whatever it's called, or 123 whatever it's called, GoDaddy and all those other shits. I don't recommend those. The reason being is because it's a little bit more technical to get set up and you have to create like what's it called, like a certain MX records on the back end and stuff like that. It gets quite complicated. So what I highly recommend you do is just go to Google domains. So you can literally just go to domains.google.com, I believe it is. Just go and register a domain. If you already have a domain, yes, you still want to register a new domain, a brand new domain for your email outreach. Now what I mean by that is go to Google, grab a domain, make sure it's not a G Suite. You don't want to use G Suite. Don't be cheap and skimp out on this. Domains only cost like $12 or something like that for the entire year, and then you want to pay the $6 or $7 or something like that per month. I mean, it's only $7 per month or something like that for G Suite. G Suite is going to give you a professional domain. What I mean by professional domain and G Suite and stuff like that is, let's say you registered a domain montelagency.com, for example. You would have your email then set as montelagency.com. Now that would be what you call a professional domain. Never ever send emails using just a normal Gmail. Gmail is, you know, montel@gmail.com. That does not look professional. You are not going to get a good reply rate if you actually use a Gmail account. You want to use a professional G Suite account. Again, that would be your name at yourdomain.com. So definitely you want to use a professional domain. And again, the reason why I actually say use Google to to actually register your domain. It's less hassle. They set you up certain records, which I'll be talking about in a second. It just overall such a smooth experience. It's really easy to get set up. So guys, point number 2 is do not use your website domain as your main outreach domain. So basically what I mean by that, and I know it confuses a lot of people, because like you may already have a website built and you already have a domain, but you still want to register a new domain and use that solely for your email. So let's say you have a website, right? And you've got your agency website and it's up and running. You've already got an email address with that. Don't use that same email address for your actual cold outreach. Now, again, like I said, this confuses a lot of people because they're like, why would I buy 2 domains? Isn't that a waste of money? I've already got a domain, should I just use that? The answer is no. You don't actually want to use your domain that your website is kind of like registered with. And what I mean by that is, let's say you have your domain is montelmedia.com and that's your actual website. So you've got the email address montel@montelmedia.com. What you'd want to do is register a new domain such as montelmedia.io. So that's a new domain, because I know a lot of people are going to be like, can't I just use another alias at the front of the domain? So an alias would be, john@montelmedia.com. That's still on your website domain. So don't use that. That's what you call an alias. That's not actually a new domain. It's an alias of the same domain. If you fuck up that reputation of that domain, what's going to happen is you can even get blacklisted and you'll lose your entire website. Not only that, but if you are getting marked as spam, because this is what a lot of people don't understand, that when you start sending emails for the first time and stuff like that, or if you don't know the actual, if you don't have like a system to land meetings and stuff like that, you're gonna suck at email at the beginning, and a lot of people are gonna mark you as spam. It's just the way it goes. It's just the way with anything in life. The first time you started walking, you fell and failed and fell on your ass basically. What's gonna happen is, if you use your website domain, you're probably gonna be very shit at emails, and what's gonna happen is you're gonna get a very bad reputation on that domain, and it's going to kill your domain basically. So for example, let's say you have existing clients right now, and you're already talking to them via email and whatnot. What's going to happen is, because you keep getting marked as spam, your deliverability is going to keep dropping because you keep getting marked as spam through your cold emails. And then when you go to communicate with your clients, for example, sending over invoices or talking about invoices and whatever you have internally within your agency that you talk to your clients with through email, what's going to happen is they're not going to start getting your emails, because you keep going to this, literally you're going to keep going to their spam. So what you want to do to avoid this is create another domain. Again, if you have an agency website and your website, for example, is just montelmedia.com, you want to register a brand new domain, for example, montelmedia.io or montelmedia.co.uk. You see that the ending's different basically. You can even register a completely different domain, but kind of can get confusing if you have a completely different domain. It's a different sound into your business, but I recommend just literally go and get the .io version of your domain, or even the .co version of your domain. As you can see, the ending is different. Now what you would want to do is obviously put your first name with that new domain and use that for outreach. And what I mean again is, if you have your agency website, I'm just going to say it one more time to summarize. You have your agency website as montelmedia.com. That is your website domain, and you also have the email domain with that, which is montel@montelmedia.com. Don't use that for outreach. You want to use your new domain, which is montelmedia.io. So you'd have the email address montelmedia.io for your main email outreach. That is the email you want to use solely for your email outreach. And then point number 3 is that you want to reroute this domain to actually then go to your website. And what I mean by this is, you're gonna start sending cold emails with your new domain, which is montelmedia.io or whatever your name is. I'm just giving that to you guys as an example. What's gonna happen is, once you start sparking interest and stuff like that and getting better at cold email, they're going to be like, okay, who's this Montel dude emailing me? Let me go and type in his domain. What's gonna happen is, because you have a professional domain, it's gonna say montel@montelmedia.io. So what you want to do is, when they type in montelmedia.io into their Google bar at the top of Google, what's going to happen, that should automatically reroute to montelmedia.com. You can easily do this, by the way, using Google. Again, this is what you call permanently redirecting or rerouting a domain to another website. So you already have your website built, you now have an outreach domain. The outreach domain, whenever someone puts that into Google, it should then land on your actual website. Your website, by the way, should have a case study funnel in there, or some sort of video sales letter to actually help you get clients and kind of sell your service basically. So that right there is what I highly recommend. Now this is point number 4, which is really important. I probably should have said this earlier, but you want to make sure that you have 3 records set up. Now these are your SPF records, your DKIM record, and your DMARC record. Now I'm not going to sit here and try to explain and try to make up exactly what I think these are, because I'm not actually too 100% sure, but I know for a fact that when you are setting up your email, you need all 3 of these records set up correctly, and you can actually test this to see if you've got them set up correctly using a website called mail-tester.com. So it's mail-tester.com is what you want to do. You want to send it basically gives you this long like email looking thing, and you copy that and you send an email to it, and then it will say come back and check your score after you sent the email, and it will show you if you've got all your records set up correctly. Now again, I'm not going to try to explain what all these records are. It's a little bit confusing, but basically it helps you gain maximum deliverability. Like, not a lot of people talk about this, but like getting your emails delivered in the first place is actually more important than the email itself, because think about it, and the subject line as well, because think about it, if your email doesn't even get delivered, no one's going to see your subject line to then open the email, and if no one sees your email, no one's going to see your subject line, no one's going to open it. The whole thing just goes to shit. It's a waste of time basically. So definitely make sure you have maximum deliverability by making sure you have your 3 records set up. Again, those are your SPF records, your DKIM records, and your DMARC records. A quick Google search will allow you to figure out how to set these up. It's really easy with Google domains as well, because I believe they set up your SPF record and your DKIM record anyway. Don't quote me on that, but really easy to do. Just go into the back end of your domain and actually just set it up. Just literally Google how to set up, and then insert the name of the record, how to set up SPF record with a Google domain, how to set up DMARC record with a Google domain. You get the idea. Super easy. Don't ask me how to set this up. I just literally Googled it, followed a couple of YouTube videos, and I've been good to go. My literally domain is like super healthy. You can see how healthy your deliverability is and stuff like that using that website, again, called mail-tester.com. Now tip number 5, now that you have all your your email set up, you have all your records set up and all that sort of stuff, I wouldn't then just go start blasting emails. What I would do is actually warm up my email. So whenever I get a new email, I make sure all the records are set up and stuff like that. It's redirecting to my website, and then what I do is I make sure that I warm up the email first. Now you can do this manually by like emailing friends and having them reply back to you, and do that for like 14 days. I recommend you wait at least 40 days before you start sending mass emails at scale. I mean, I've heard people say that you can literally, as soon as you register a new business domain with G Suite, you can, and you have your record set up, you can just literally go blast straight away. I personally have found that your email just goes to shit if you do that sort of stuff. I don't know if it's just my luck or like these other people know some secret that I don't. I recommend you actually warm up your email either manually or using a software called Lemlist. Now Lemlist is an amazing automation tool. I've been using this from day one before all these quote-unquote big gurus were talking about it. I know that a lot of these gurus are going to start jumping on it as well, ASAP, because it's just an amazing software. Lemwarm, so Lemlist has a software like kind of feature within the software. By the way, Lemlist is an automation tool that allows you to send automated emails. Don't get giddy with this. I know what you guys are going to do. You're going to go and register a domain, you're going to scrape a bunch of different emails, and you're just going to blast it without personalizing, without setting up any records, and then you're going to say Montel cold email didn't work. No, well, no fucking shit. That's exactly what you're going to do, and I've told you this, and you're still gonna go do it, and then you're gonna come back to this video and be like, yeah, you know what, it didn't actually work. Don't do that. Trust me, just follow these tips. You're gonna be ahead of 99% of the people. So again, make sure you warm up your email. You can use this Lemwarm tool that I'm talking about. Basically, it's like an engagement group but for email. So it will automatically email people who are also using Lemlist, and there's thousands and thousands of people using Lemlist, and it will basically have a conversation with each other. It's kind of like a randomly generated message that looks legit to Google, and it actually replies and stuff like that. And if your message goes to spam in the other person's inbox, it will automatically take it out of their inbox and mark it as important and stuff like that, and read and then reply back to it. So it looks like you're having genuine conversations with genuine people. Well, they are genuine people, it's just the emails are just bogus, but they look very genuine. It's like there's certain keywords in the email. I don't know how they do it, but it's amazing. I highly recommend you do that. Or you can manually do this, like I said, email like 10 friends or something like that, have them reply back to you. Or you can even just go and sign up to like newsletters and sign up for social media. You want to show Google that you're a real person and that you're actually using your domain for like real human tasks. They don't like it when you're just spamming cold emails. Oh, on that note as well, talking about becoming a real human and using your domain properly, I recommend you make sure you set up like your name, your date of birth and stuff like that in the background in the back of Google. Make sure you set a professional profile picture as well. All that sort of stuff is going to show Google that you are a real person and you're going to be using this email legitly. So that's just kind of like a bonus tip. Now point number 6 is make sure that when you're first starting with this sort of stuff, after you've warmed up your email and stuff like that. I mean, while you're warming up, you can still send emails, but I recommend you only send around 10 a day and then ramp that up to around 70 or 50. Me personally, I'd stick to 50 a day. No more than 50 emails a day. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be like, no, 50 emails is not enough. But you want to think about it like this. We're going to be personalizing each and every email, which is the next point I'm going to be talking about. And I just feel like more than 50 emails a day, I mean, who's really sending 50 emails a day, guys? Not only that, but you need to remember that each one of these 50 emails are going to get follow-ups as well. So I recommend you at least do 4 follow-ups. So you have an initial email and then 3 follow-ups. So a bump email, a follow-up, and then a follow-up after that, or even another follow-up after that, because a bump email doesn't really count. It's just a bump. Well, it's still a follow-up, but you get what I mean, guys. So each person that you email, each prospect, if you will, gets at least 4 to 5 emails. So if you're sending, 50 emails a day, you need to send all of those follow-ups. So as you can see, you're gonna have a lot of emails, flowing in and out, basically. Not only that, but when people reply back to you, it's going to be very, very messy to keep track unless you're using some sort of CRM system. So I personally like to stick within the realms of what's humanly possible within a 24-hour period to show Google that maybe I'm actually writing these by hand and I'm not some sort of spammer and I'm not just spamming a bunch of people, basically. So I like to stick with what I believe is humanly possible, and like 50 emails a day is like humanly possible. If you can sit down and write 50 emails a day, you're a fucking robot, by the way. I'm only sending like 10 to 15 emails a day. Sometimes I'm personally only sending like 10 to 15 emails a day. So if you're sending like 50 emails a day, you got a fucking robot. You're probably not personalizing them to the level I am, which I'll get into in a second, but you definitely want to personalize your emails. So last but not least, point number 7 is you want to make sure you personalize every single email you send to a prospect. Now, what I mean by that is use personalized first lines. And what I found people do is they skip this completely and then they say the email doesn't work. Well, no shit. You're doing the same shit as other people do. By the way, this is not a personalized email. This is what I've seen a lot of people do. They'll go, hey John, I came across, and then they'll put the company name in because it's like a little merge field in the Google sheet. So they'll go, hey John, which is a merge, which in itself is a merge field. They'll go, hey John, I came across business on Google and seen that you was the CEO of the company and wanted to reach out. That is not a personalized email. This is a personalized email. Let me give you an example as to what a real personalized email is. So you would go, hey John, I just read a cool article you did with, and then you would insert the actual blog name or even the person that actually did the blog or wrote the blog. I found it really interesting, the point you mentioned about being a sustainable clothing brand. I'm glad that you're taking that approach in 2020. Now that is very, very specific to them. Your personalized emails and your personalized first lines need to be so specific that they need to be thinking in their head, this couldn't have been sent to anybody else and it makes sense. Basically, it needs to be so friggin' specific that it needs to be what I like to call that could only mean me. So what I mean by that is, for me, if you was to cold email me, you would be like, hey Montel, I just checked out your video on tips to getting started cold email. I really like the point that you mentioned about, and then you'd mention one of the points I previously made, such as registering your domain with Google. I found it to be super easy and streamlined and less hassle than registering a domain with GoDaddy. That would be a very, very, very good first line. That's the sort of stuff you need to do. No, there is not a way to automate this unless you hire some human talent to actually write these for you, and that's what everybody's trying to do. They're trying to cut corners. They're just trying to automate everything and just put everything on automation. They're not actually trying to put in this work. Yes, it does require a lot of work. It's not too difficult, by the way. You shouldn't be spending more than like 3-4 minutes on your personalized first lines. I highly recommend you look at articles, their LinkedIn page, any sort of PR they've done, even just mention their stuff on the About Us page if they mention something very specific. I like to name drop as well. So for example, if I find a business owner is working with their wife, I'll be like, hey John, I think it's really awesome that you and Sarah, I'll actually put her name in, are working together, building this brand together. I've seen that you started back in 2018 while Sarah was pregnant. It must have been really tough on you guys starting a business and raising your children, Molly and Joseph, at the same time. Congratulations on the 7 years in business. That is a very specific first line. That could not be sent to anybody else and it makes sense. It has to be sent to that one person, and that makes so much sense. That's going to boost your reply rate by 10x is what I found. So that's how you write personalized first lines. I'll probably create a whole video on this going into the future, but those are just some of the tips I highly recommend. A bonus tip would be to have a signature, professional signature in your email, such as your name, your position, your phone number. No website. I don't actually put website in my signature. I don't want clicks. I want replies and calls, but don't actually put links in any of your cold emails. emails. I don't send my calendar. Not on the first email, by the way. I'll send my calendar after and stuff like that. I don't send my website in my signature. I don't have a picture in my signature. None of that shit. It's just plain text, literally. Guys, again, hope you found some value in this, and I'll see you guys in the next video, which I'm going to be shooting right now today. So you're gonna have 2 videos this week, so stay tuned. If you're new here, by the way, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in a new video. Peace.